Hey, so you guys already have questions. I've just put out my video intro yesterday, and you guys already have questions, and I just wanted to make sure that I answered them for you. One is huge that I didn't even address, and that's who am I and what makes me the professional and makes me think I know what I'm talking about, and that I'm not some girl who just really loves fashion who just came off the street and decided to do this. Um, I am one of those girls that really loved fashion from you know since I was a baby. I grew up with Barbie dolls. I dressed them and redressed them and redressed them again. I mean, that's pretty much all I did with Barbie dolls. They never really had a plot or a story. They were just always getting ready for some event or some plan of action. And I kind of took that passion, and I decided that in high school I would take every class I possibly could, and there was some fashion classes and sewing classes and things like that I took, and the interest kept growing. And so when it was time for me to go to college, I decided to go to Oregon State, and I graduated with a fashion merchandising management degree, which is kind of a degree that gives you a really well-rounded education in fashion in general: textiles, business, marketing, visual merchandising, sewing classes. I took that major because I really wanted to get an overall bearing on what was the fashion industry was all about, and what it had to offer. And what I found out was I'm not good at math. I had to take my what was it, fashion or buying accounting or whatever it was twice. So I realized not good at math. I also realized that I don't have the patience to sew, so I knew designing really wasn't going to be a part of my future. I just didn't have the patience for it. So I graduated with my degree, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and I got a great opportunity with Nike, and I decided to take it. So I took my job at Nike, and I was there for 6 years, and it was an amazing experience. Working for a corporation like that was just it was huge, especially at such a young age. And I worked as a product tech, where I worked with the garments, and I worked with developers to do fittings and things like that, and worked with a fit model and learned that whole gamut. And then I worked as a project manager later on at Nike, and from there I learned a lot about the development side of fashion and what goes into anything, what goes into making buttons, what goes into the fibers that actually make up the garment. I mean, it's a huge process, and it was really fascinating to gain that knowledge, but it didn't fulfill me on a creative level. And what I had been doing for years and years and years, before Nike, I had spent about 7 years in retail, and I loved working with my clients, and I loved trying to figure out what it was about their bodies that they weren't liking, and then trying to solve the problem with the clothes that I would be representing. So I worked at Banana Republic and Eddie Bauer, and a store called Colorado, which was kind of an outdoor store. I only worked there for a little bit, but I spent most of my time at Banana Republic, and it was an amazing experience, because I really learned that everybody has a different kind of body type. And I grew up doing this, and I worked a lot with my mom, who has a totally different body type than myself. So it was really fascinating to work with her and to understand how she dressed, because she always looked so put together and so fashionable. But we had different body types. So I learned a lot from my mom, and then I learned that, I mean, it's not just my mom and I that are different, it's everybody that was different. So when I was in the retail world, I just ate it up. And so when I was at Nike, I realized that I kind of missed that, but the retail world it wasn't for me. And one day I just didn't know what to do, but I was really unhappy, and I told my husband that I just felt like I needed to take a leap of faith, and I walked in that day to my boss, and I quit. And I quit Nike, and it was a huge thing that I did. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, but I knew that it was something that I had to do. And from that day forward, Dahlstyle had really begun, and I came home, and the door of Nike had shut, and really what it did was it made me realize that I have a talent and a gift and a real passion for styling and coordinating clothes. And I knew that there was a need out there, because the Oprah Winfrey makeover shows were really popular, and any kind of fashion makeover whatever it was something that I always heard people talking about. Like the next day, the What Not to Wear show was huge. And I would always hear people talking about, oh, did you watch What Not to Wear? Or, oh, did you see the makeover? And I heard so many people say, gosh, I wish I could have that. And I really thought, well, I've been doing it for years. I've been working with my mom to get her dressed, and I've been working with friends. And in the sorority, I was the last person to get dressed because I would run around and dress everybody before myself. So it was something that I loved and I had a real passion for, and I knew that if I started charging people, that people would hire me. And I literally just started charging the people that would ask me to coordinate clothes for them. And I started advertising in fashion magazines and publications, and that was 7 years ago. And I've built a clientele since then, and I've worked with the most amazing women. I am so fortunate. And so in that 7 years, I have developed a process and a step-by-step kind of equation to kind of make getting dressed and having personal style for any body type very simple and accessible and attainable. And it's all been through the process of my own working with my clients and my own process of elimination and what works and what doesn't work. And it served me really well, and I think that I kind of have it down. I'm always learning. You can see behind me, I read every fashion book on the planet Earth. If it's out there, I've read it. And I think that fashion books they are a wealth of knowledge, but I think it's like going into a department store. It's really difficult to read through a fashion book page to page and feel like you understand what works for you personally. Some things might really resonate and some things might really confuse you, and I think the combination of the two can kind of leave you going, oh, I don't really know what works personally for me. So it's really my goal to kind of try and teach and help and direct for those specific questions, because every single client that I've had in every single body type is different. Somebody's shoulders might be wider, another person's might have a short waist and long legs, or a long torso and short legs. And I mean, you can't pigeonhole somebody into being a piece of fruit or, a toddler block shape. It doesn't work that way. So I've kind of broken it down, and again, like I mentioned before, this is just really my passion to be able to share this information. So that's me. I've also had a request, and mind you, this is from the grandparents, but I've had a request that the pictures that I showed of my family were really small. So bear with me, because I'm so proud of my family, and I know the grandparents want to see this photo too out on the cyber world, but this is my family. So these are my boys, and that's a bigger picture, and that's Sean in the middle, and that's Hudson, the baby, who's 1 now, and AJ, who is the 3.5-year-old there. Isn't that a beautiful family? Aren't I so lucky? I'm so lucky. But those are my boys, and that's my life. So you guys, that's a little bit about my education and what I'm all about, and how I know what I know. If you have any questions, I'm loving this, so please let me know, and I will answer any questions that you guys might have. I also wanted to mention that if you ever want to see some of my segments, you can catch them on YouTube. You just have to punch in Sarah Dahlquist, SARADAHLQUIST, or Dahlstyle, and this is my business logo. So that's how I spell my business name, so you can find it on that too. And I look forward to talking to you guys really soon. Look forward to talking to you soon. Choose stylishly.